On this episode of Road Creators, we're talking about
July in the Know, trends you need to know.
Absolutely. Let's get to it.
3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome back to Road Creators, presented by Go RogueX. My name is Brian Fitton.
And I'm Lauren Lewis.
And this is the podcast dedicated to marketers and creators who are wanting to serve first and stand out from the crowd. Make sure that you subscribe every single week, YouTube, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, to get all of the tools and resources you need to be the go-to name in your industry. Let's go. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Road Creators. My name is Brian Fitton. I'm here with my awesome co-host, Lauren Lewis.
Hey.
We are talking about In the Know for July. There's a lot of really cool things happening, especially in the social media space. I think we have quite a bit of social media content today. So this is heavy social media. And get excited because we're going to jump into a lot of really, really cool things that you need to know for this month. All right? But before we do...
We like to start each episode off with what are you obsessed with this week? So, Brian, what are you obsessed with this week?
I am obsessed with the space wars going on between all these billionaires.
Yes.
I've been a fan of Elon for a while and SpaceX, but it's kind of weird. Richard Branson, like out of nowhere, all of a sudden was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to space with some other employees, essentially."
Company trip
to the moon. Here we go. Hey, that's gonna happen with Go Rogue at some point. I'm just going to make that
big
statement.
Goals.
Big goals. No. So it was very interesting. So the whole thing with this actually was crazy to me because Elon actually was with Richard the morning of, like that Sunday, and which was really cool to actually see them kind of like they're competitors, but Elon actually bought a ticket to kind of help support what Richard was doing, which I thought was awesome. Jeff, on the other hand, Jeff Bezos, I guess he's no longer the CEO of Amazon. Anyway, he was like basically dogging it the whole time, had all these things to say about it. Like he's talking about how his spaceship has bigger windows, which it's just kind of dumb stuff. But I'm like, here's the oh my gosh. Hold on just a second. Hold on before we go crazy here. All I'm saying is it's really nice to see like competitors being kind to each other with Elon and Richard. And I thought it was super awesome because now anybody can go to space, right? And he went to space, Jacob.
You're going to space and your battle is, I have bigger windows?
That's what he said. That's what I'm saying. He's kind of being a jerk about this whole thing where the other two guys are like, hey, this is cool. This is like a step, forward for mankind. You know what? There's opinions out there that Richard didn't go to space, and he did. I'm going to stand by that. Thank you. But it's just been really cool to see that. So they hit like Mach 3, 250,000 miles into the air, which was crazy. I mean, it was pretty awesome stuff to see. It's a moment in history. I'm obsessed with it, man. I feel like I'm just... You know what? If you're out there and you appreciate the space race, you tell me. I need some support here. These yahoos, man. All right, anyway, Lauren, what are you obsessed with?
Well... Mine isn't as exciting as yours. So I recently discovered a company called Tugboat Jack.
Yes.
It is an artist out of Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's correct. Anyways, he does a lot of illustrations. They're super... it's a t-shirt company, by the way. And I have just really enjoyed all of the artwork that he's done. He just recently came out with a creature collection, which is like really like kind of like odd mix of creatures and everything together, but it's done in a very like tasteful way.
Nice.
But he has like a lot of like kind of historical like puns and everything that he does and everything, but it's like right up the middle. Like you're not going to see it leaning one way or the other.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. But for Father's Day, that is what I did. T-shirts from this company and everything, and got my husband a sweatshirt and everything, and it was just super fun, like slogans like oh gosh, now I'm not gonna even remember. Like live fast, die slow, kind of that kind of those kind of stuff. And anyways, but anyways, it was really fun. We'll tag them. You can actually look at the shirts and actually believe me, that's really cool because I'm doing a horrible job explaining this.
Our obsessions today are just top notch. Thanks for hanging in there with us.
It's a super cool company. They're active on Instagram. You should totally look at their portfolio.
Nice.
A lot of fun. Support an artist that's definitely up and coming.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I was cooler than my billionaire talk.
I mean, it's a great investment of money.
Oh, we could go. I got
Okay,
a whole
nope.
other podcast.
But we are going to talk about July in the know.
We are. And if you're still listening, we are so excited to jump into this. And this is what you came for today.
Right.
But we always do the obsession because we want you to get to know us as hosts. And we have people tag us in different things, too, that they are obsessed with. So make sure that if you're out there, you have something that would be very cool, we'd love to talk about it on the show and get to know you as a listener as well. So,
yeah. So getting started, there is news that is flying around.
Oh, yeah.
And it's got some interesting taglines, so we wanted to definitely talk about it. So the question is Instagram getting rid of photos?
Absolutely. Deleting everything, no more likes, everything's going away.
Yeah.
It's not true. So we were talking about this. We're like,
The likes might be.
The likes. You can actually remove likes from certain photos and different things like that, which I think is very interesting. Actually.
I think it's cool.
So the only reason we're talking about this is because I think people have made it into a bigger deal than what it is.
Yeah.
All they said was basically that it is Instagram is no longer a photo sharing platform only. And that's what it was designed to be back in, I guess, 2010 when it originally launched. And so right now it's now moving into more video focus because that's the way of the world. The world is moving into more video focus type content.
Yeah. I think also just TikTok on the rise, it's going to have to compete with that. And so being able to not lose their users, but still, have that solid fan base by having features more similar to TikTok for sure. But just pushing video. And we've talked about this multiple times on the podcast that anytime that they make an announcement like that, pay attention. It's not, you might be like, oh, this is kind of obvious. And I actually said that. I was like, I feel like this isn't really news. But it definitely means that any video content they're going to focus on as opposed to a photo. So if you're like, well, should we do a fun video as a company or should we do a fun photo? There's your answer. Do a video.
Yep, absolutely. And that's the whole point of this is the algorithm is now going to prioritize that content. And so we were talking about before. I mean, if you've listened to our show, I mean, we've been pushing video as like this is what everybody's paying attention to. This is what's getting engagement. And so this, we were talking, it's like kind of no surprise to us.
Right.
Because that is the world that we live in. And so we are a video marketing company. So that's what we focus on already. But even if you're taking a photo, if you can make it a boomerang, literally, that can act as a video and the algorithm will prioritize that above anything else. And so it is very interesting. So the only thing that I don't know, and I probably should have done my research a little bit more, but the carousel setup, obviously being carousel. So the carousels that we've been designing have had video included in them as well, because we wanted to test out whether or not that would actually work according to the algorithm if we get more engagement on it. And what's crazy is we haven't really seen any difference, at least from my insights that I've looked at. And so again, we like to test things out. And so I would say that if you're a business owner or a marketer, make sure that you're just testing this stuff out to see like, hey, I'm posting at the same time every single week or this, but I'm going to post one photo and the next week I'm going to post a video. I think it just has to be engaging content.
Yeah.
It has to be educational, has to be valuable to the people looking at it. Because if you're just posting random stuff, the algorithm is probably not going to prioritize it anyway if people don't like it.
Right. It doesn't matter regardless of algorithm.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're posting bad content, it's not going to do anything.
Exactly. But I actually love the focus on IGTV. Like, I feel like that skyrocketed and then it kind of fizzled out for a while. Reels and all the things are kind of bringing all of their products, I guess, back up.
Right.
And we've talked about this before, being live on Instagram. Like, they're prioritizing that. If you go live, especially with somebody else, man, you get first dibs in everybody's stories. And so I would highly use that. We've been talking about including that a lot more in our actual strategy. So make sure you guys are paying attention to that. But you said at the beginning, if they make an announcement, make sure you are in the know and doing that.
Yes.
What's next, Lauren?
Pinterest.
Yes. Hey, I have a Pinterest account and it has motorcycles on it. I don't know if you guys knew that.
How?
By the way, that's the joke, is I randomly throw in things that are unnecessary.
That's great, Ryan.
Thanks. Poor Gnu.
So a really, really good joke.
So good. Poor Gnu, man. That
goodness.
episode, I just randomly shouted. I feel like I was just like blurting things out. I'm a Pinterest account.
Yes.
Anyway.
That is how that episode went.
It was a great episode, by the way.
Yes, which is what we're referring to.
Sorry. Go back and listen to that one.
Is what I'm trying to say. We had an amazing guest, Gnu, on to talk about Pinterest strategy, because Pinterest has kind of been a platform similar to me to LinkedIn. That people just kind of forgot about. And they're now starting all these brand new features, and they're coming back into the fold of an actual strategy you would want to put into your marketing, depending on your demographic, for sure. Yeah. Pinterest definitely has a very specific demographic. So today, one of the things we want to talk about was Pinterest Live. And then Pinterest just announced, so again, another announcement that you want to just kind of pay attention to is that it's banning all weight loss ads. And so I think we kind of look and go, great. The end. But what it really does is it's going to change what content you're seeing, because actually there's a large chunk of Pinterest that is focused on weight loss. And if that disappears,
interesting,
what space will fill it?
Yeah.
And I think that's always the question that you need to ask when those kind of things happen. So apparently with Instagram and Facebook in 2019, they did similar things where they shut down ads as well. So Pinterest is more just following suit. Which is great, and they're promoting more just health and fitness, as opposed to just like rapid weight loss.
Yeah. Which, I mean, honestly is good. That should be regulated.
Yeah.
We know that, I mean, we work with some e-commerce companies we do ad creative for some of them. And that focus of making sure that in that we're not saying specific, like, hey, you'll lose weight, you'll do these things. It's always recommended, like, hey, this is what some of the benefits could be.
Right.
And that specific captioning, that specific, those descriptions, you have to be very, very careful with that.
Right.
So it is good to actually see that with Pinterest. So if you're in the e-commerce space and you are, selling anything related to performance, I guess, supplements, anything like that, like, just be very, very careful in that world.
Yes.
Be very specific about.
That's very true.
So the Pinterest Live, though.
Yes, let's go there. So if you've gone onto Pinterest recently, you'll notice that a lot of their homepage, a lot of their features are changing. They have some story features, and then they're highlighting a lot of like designers and influencers that are going live, and then they have articles attached to those, which are really fantastically outlaid. And it's been really changing the way that I've viewed Pinterest, because it's really showcasing content I don't think I would have clicked on before, which is, I'm sure, the whole point. Rather than me just quickly going to my recipe board, I'm actually exploring different forms of content. And so what I'm really interested to see is how video is probably going to take over Pinterest. It used just to be stills, and that's really, I mean, you did it for decor, you did it for recipes and everything, but with video, it really opens the door for a lot more opportunities.
Yeah. We're not a big Pinterest group. Like, a lot of our clients and stuff don't use Pinterest, but we have had several requests, and we put together some proposals for different people out there as like a Pinterest strategy. Right. And video was pretty heavy in that. Even back then, we're like, hey, it feels like it's moving in that direction, and so you should be paying attention to that. You should be creating that type of content. And now it's obviously even more. So we haven't really dived really deep into Pinterest Live, just because it's a newer feature. And so in our coming episodes, we'll be able to definitely talk a lot more about how to use that strategy efficiently. Yeah. But it's definitely something to pay attention to as they're rolling that out. If you're trying to do marketing on Pinterest, you need to understand possibly that what's going to actually get you most traction is going to be video and eventually going live. Man, we need to do that.
Oh my gosh.
Ashley,
for a motorcycle board.
Yeah. Hey, here's the deal. I just need to get into Pinterest more. Like, I have my stuff, but
I could really see you easily doing Pinterest.
Yeah. Thank you, Lauren. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Hey, if you're on Pinterest, follow me. No? What do we do on Pinterest? I feel like an old man right now.
You can follow someone.
Yeah. So. Okay. Follow my boards. There we go.
Oh gosh.
All right. Hey. So last thing is very interesting. iOS 14.
Yes, it is.
iOS 14 has just been wrecking the world. It is when it comes to our friends in the e-commerce space are not happy about it because obviously the tracking and ad tracking and how you're measuring everything is completely gone downhill. And same with Facebook and privacy. Privacy is very, very important, obviously. But I do not want to go back to a world where it's like TV commercials where you just see everything, nothing that is like curated for me as a viewer.
Right.
And so I think we've kind of obviously gone crazy on one side and now the pendulum's kind of swinging back the other way. And I hope we find the middle ground with this. But iOS 14 updates. Talk us through it, Lauren.
Yes.
Tell us what a Facebook pixel is, Lauren.
Yes. Well, so what we're focusing on today, actually, is not just the update itself, is really talking about Apple Podcast listeners.
Oh, I know. I just got a whole rant about it. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I don't know all the specifics. What I know is people are really angry.
I'm that person. I'm those people.
So tell us a little bit. I'm going to throw it back to you. Of the Apple Podcast listeners, people are getting kind of upset.
They are. I think
and you're upset.
I am. I'm a little upset.
So tell us about that rather than throwing that on me.
Okay. So in general, they have tried to do a lot of things kind of in this short span of time. So subscriptions, which we talked about on a previous episode, make sure you go back and listen to that one. We'll reference that in show notes as well as Good News episode. But also on here, we have the Apple Podcast, the subscription services in general are fine, but so many people are having issues with them. So getting into the account, updating things, having things go through. I mean, it's just been a lot of problems. And so, that aside, but now we're seeing a decrease in downloads as well because the automatic download is not happening like it used to. Right. So if I subscribe to a podcast, an Apple Podcast, which I'm not a fan of the Apple Podcast player, most of our stats, so you guys who are listening, most people listen to Apple Podcasts, which is totally fine. We love you so much. Thank you for listening to our show. But I would encourage you to kind of explore outside of that. So I'm a fan of Stitcher Radio. There's also Overcast. There's a couple different players that can be customized a little bit better. But what's happening right now is as a podcaster, you're not seeing the downloads like what we used to because they're not automatically getting put on your phone for people to listen to, which is what people are used to doing. So they have to go in and refresh the feed. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And this has all become because of the iOS 14 update. Come on, Apple. Man, get it together.
I mean, really, because I feel like Apple and Spotify kind of came out swinging at each other, and I feel like Apple has just been super underwhelming.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not a huge Spotify. We pay for Spotify Premium. I'd rather pay for that than Apple Music. But they have it built in. I don't even use the podcast player on that.
Oh, that's all I listen to my podcast.
It's super
Spotify.
easy. It's really nice. Yeah. Spotify, come on, you guys are killing it. Except for Joe Rogan, man, he's on the rant. Anyway, sorry, that's a whole nother podcast. But anyway, so this, just make sure you pay attention. If you're a podcaster out there and you see a decrease in your downloads, that may not be necessarily true to what is actually happening. So just make sure that you're looking at your analytics. And I would put out surveys too with your audience, say, hey, has your listening habits changed? Obviously, right now we're in the summertime. And so a lot of times you'll see a decrease in downloads. I'm just letting them know. This is July. I guess it's you know this because this is a July episode. Anyway, but typically what we see in the industry is a decrease in downloads anyway.
Yes.
But this has been dramatic. And so don't get discouraged. Your friends here at Go Rogue trying to help you out. Make sure that you know your downloads are important.
Yes. I think this is also, if you are a podcaster and you are only uploading your feed to one platform, this is one of the reasons why you should be on all of them. Yep. Even if you don't have a ton of listeners on like some of the more obscure ones, it's really important to have yourself available in all of these, because when things like this happen, it only takes about 15 seconds for you to close out of that app and move on to the next one so you can listen to your show. And if you're not on the other ones, then you just lost a viewer or listener, I should say, a listener that's going to move on to a better podcast. And so that's, you really want to make sure that you're uploading your RSS feed. Was it RSS feed?
Yeah.
Okay. I did that wrong. To all the different platforms. I love Spotify. I have really always been irritated with Apple. It's really difficult to maneuver.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and there's only one podcast that I listen to on Apple because they didn't put it anywhere else.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's kind of frustrating.
Wow,
But
you've hung on.
I have.
That's
I
impressive.
really like the podcast, actually. But it's very interesting. We've just in the groups that I'm in, we've seen an increase in Pandora listenership. So people are saying, hey, Pandora. Like, I forgot about Pandora.
Yeah, like
honestly.
I said, 2012.
It is. Flashback. But it is one of those things of like, it's very interesting to have it everywhere because you never know
Right.
Where you're going to get listenership. So I think that's a great point, Lauren. So
Thanks.
yeah, absolutely. So we hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. We really do try to find things that are relevant to you in the marketing space and in the creator space to be paying attention to. And so try to break down some of these topics. So if there's something that you see, make sure you tag us and we'd love to talk about it. And yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Until next time, we'll see you then. Thanks.